Oops, I closed it. So 4966, that is no longer there. 4651 is there. So I'm gonna delete this one. And now 42281. Sup, Damien? Now 42734. This is 100x. That's extremely close. That's extremely close. 414186. 4141.8.6. This one is also nice because it's on the lows. Man, when price comes down, it's gonna be such a clean sweep, just straight down. Of course, this is just speculation, but it's starting to look really probable. 39822. I don't have this one anymore. And this one is still there. This is not. 4651, 41418. Is this 25? This is not 25. This is 50. 100, and now we have to the upside. $43,655 and 44,512. This is probably insignificant, but whatever. But these are new. They're from today, from this top, so they're kind of relevant. So what happened today was actually pretty textbook in terms of overall movements for a Monday. It was pretty clean. Let me just switch to the 1 minute here. PC is a bit slow. Let me close EXO for now and add us. I should take note of that single print. Okay, let me just take note of the single print. 42,635. And TPO POC at 42,230. I'm marking it out because it's unlikely that it moves. It's just 1 hour left for the day to end. 42,230. Yeah, okay. It shouldn't change much. Let me see if it's similar on MXC. Yeah, it's kind of the same. The volume though is up there. which obviously makes sense. It's where we are ranging. Okay. So in essence, let me close this. Save current workspace, yes please. And let me close this. Okay. This was Sunday, never mind. So overall, we had some liquidity markups here to follow the London Open strategy, right? These were the main ones to consider to the downside. And we had these ones also to the upside, obviously accounting with Asia low. When we got to the first one, we obviously didn't have any kind of divergence, but we did on the next hit that we had. So either when we close above this order block, or at least using it maybe like so or like this, because you have a very, very tiny FVG over there. This would obviously be your stop, and that would obviously be your top. And I can't believe that wasn't hit. That wasn't hit? That wasn't hit. Jesus. Probably an equal high. But of course your stop loss wouldn't be this close, right? But if I'm not mistaken, after this we had another massive dump, still maintaining the divergence. From here to here, we still maintain the divergence. So the idea would be to reach the 50% of Asia, which we later did. I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. And only when we did go over the 50%, we started making highs that did have a divergence. Now, this group of blocks obviously aren't exactly the types of blocks that we like to trade. They're not really clean, right? But a little bit after that, we did have this small group here that was decent, right? And of course, if that were to fail, you could look at this small group here, and that would have been a decent entry to get to the Asia low. So that would be your basic London Open strategy, to go to the 50% and then go to the Asia low. So getting out of replay, after that with New York, you had a very similar move. You have the current London, would be the current London low at the time. New York opens. It does, if you see it on the 5-minute, this looks like your typical, almost like your typical three hits to the low, right? And on the last one, you had another divergence, which, for example, on the 5-minute, you had more than one entry. You could have used that block over there, or this block over here. But other than that, you wouldn't have gotten any other entry unless you do a breakout trade, which is not exactly my types of trades, as you know. But then the other way around, you could have targeted the Asia high, or like we did talk about on Discord on the previous day, looking at TPO profiles, and I'm gonna switch to the 15-minute here. Looking at TPO profiles, if it loads, so I didn't click, sorry. You had a group of highs that, as you can see, had very poor lows. There wasn't any selling tail for these two days, the 18th and the 17th of January. The highs had, in this case, it had 3 blocks, which is even worse, and this one had 2. So technically, this is what we call a poor high. So they generally don't offer practically any kind of resistance, and that's essentially where we stopped. Of course, this is a little bit more subjective. I also had a support resistance zone marked out by the wicks of, if I'm not mistaken, the 1 hour or the 4 hour, which was this overall area that had a lot of wicks from this region, and then a lot of wicks from this. I think it was a 4-hour wicks that I guided myself from. Let me see. Yeah, exactly. So a lot of wicks here, over here too, a lot of wicks over here too. And basically the low of the support and resistance zone is marked by these two groups of candles here, which line up with a nice amount of wicks, and it was still resistance over there too. So basically we just stopped at the same place once again. And it went as a confluence. We had TR pocket level using the Asia high to the Asia low. Sorry, the Sunday high to the Sunday low. We had the 1272 over there. So in theory, now I would like price to reach one of these 4-hour FVGs if we are going to have a quick retrace for a continuation, because we still have, let me hide some stuff. We still have some single prints above. We just tapped one here that was around 42 something, 42,400 I think. So after deleting that, and because we are so close to the CME gaps high from the past weekend, it would be logical in terms of support and resistance to use this general area over here again, which, going back, it's another place with a lot of wicks. So it would make sense to use this general area here as support, and it's also, in terms of volume, I think it makes sense. Let it just load for a bit, because the highest zone where we do have volume is obviously the current point of control, but the second zone is basically here. Let me just put this a little bit less transparent. Okay, maybe white, just so you guys can see better. So this general area here is the TPO POC. So that would make sense to retrace to that area and find supports from it. Now, if we use just standard Fibonacci levels, that's also in line with the 702 and the 618 zone. So that just gives us that little extra confidence for finding long trades there. The only problem now is that Monday usually is a fake move. So I want to try and not forget the idea that it's possible to just not pump anymore. because this general area for me was like my minimum place to pump, but anything above this, especially above 44,355 for me, also considering vectors, 4-hour vectors, that from here onwards, or upwards should I say, it's very uncertain. In terms of moves, to me, especially if we look at Emma's, to me this is just one move and this is just another. So in theory, just looking at the typical market maker program, we should now consolidate and make another move. But typically the third move is the most impulsive, and this one is like half of the first one. So that gives me, makes me ask a lot of questions. So tomorrow morning when London opens, I'm just gonna try and follow the strategy and see where it takes me, because even in terms of TR pockets, for example, this gives me confidence to just go to the single print, but not much lower. But that is just the TR pocket, you know, because other than that, there's not really a lot of things for me to believe that we are, without a doubt, going up. My bias is up because of the moves, because of the possibility of doing 3 moves up. So we are missing one move, basically, that's what I'm saying. But, you know, up until this point, it was a little bit clear. After this, it's a tread carefully situation for me. So, in terms of liquidation levels, that's another confluence that we have for the 272, because essentially that 100 liquidation level is right on top of the TR pocket, the first one. By the way, let me just change to other time frames. Let's see the volume from this move, where it stops. Okay, I like this. May I say not right that Monday is fake? I'd rather state that Monday levels are target. Well, yeah, that's true. Let me see what you got here. What's an FF? Oh, you just reminded me of K-Pax. Flip flop. Flippity flop. Man, I miss that guy's streams. Um, mhm. Yeah, we do have a lot of nice volume for this zone, right? It should act as support, or it should at least do some work. So if an opportunity presents itself there, I'm not gonna ignore it, you know? Let me see if I can clean this up to post to the community. Oh, by the way, let me check, because I do like ExoChart's single prints. They're a little bit more precise. Then Addis. Are those yellow lines anchored VWAPs? Yes, they are. I'm not Hori answering, but I'm gonna bet that they are because we used to call them yellow, right, Hori? We found yellow. Um, Using the whole range, yeah, of course, that makes sense, bro. You're thinking of maybe SFPing 43376, drop in terms of retrace and then pump again? The fucking Power Rangers, man. 42732. Let me just update this. Yeah. Makes a lot more sense. 42732. Like, it's exactly on top of the 272 TR pocket. This is better. Number 3. I bet you would kick their asses, Igor. No problem. No questions asked. Let me change positions here. 42732. Where's the previous day VWAP? Or where is it going to land? 42529. VWAP 42. That's it, right? 529. Going to be a naked VWAP. And this is going to be a naked point of control. Yeah, I have those too. But I draw them in blue because, you know, everything's blue for me. But I have them here. Which, by the way, I have one out of place, I think. No? Where's this guy? Oh, it's on my LGA folder. Okay, so this guy goes for the naked VWAPs. Yeah, this 272 area looks really interesting, And this zone with this high over here also makes sense to be a support resistance flip. I just don't like this general area over here. Let me see where the point of control of this area is. So if I draw a line with that point of control, interesting. I like that. I'm gonna put this down as an SR flip. So this is a single print. TPO POC. This is from the LGA, 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 LGA. Okay. I guess that's it, essentially. There's not much more to it. Damien, probably that's a question that Hori would need maybe 30 minutes to answer. Am I right, Hori? Maybe 30 minutes to show you examples and stuff for you to understand. But essentially, I don't know if he does it very different from me, but I generally go to strong highs and strong lows, and I'll give you some examples. Or I will use swing points that didn't yet have a reaction, a VWAP reaction. So currently, this is a first reaction that sorry, first reaction that we had from this anchored VWAP up from the top, and we didn't yet have a reaction from these bottom two. By the way, would be maybe a nice idea to draw one from the current low. See if tomorrow that gives us something. And I'll let it sit there. But yeah, basically that's it. Any questions, guys? I'm gonna leave the range here as well, because I like the POC over there. And here's the thing, by the way, a lot of people probably will be looking for that vector recovery, but it's really not necessary if we are to go up again and only later continue the macro downtrend. If we are to have another pump, we can just tomorrow do something like this. Tomorrow slash for the rest of the week. So just a continuation. And when we do drop, well, yeah, we'll basically just clean this all up. So, by the way, that's why any shorts from this major area is probably a good money opportunity. When price moves fast, leaves view up behind, trades all day away from it. When it comes back to kiss it, you can bet. Yeah. Yes. What time frame do you use the 200 MA, Ori? I like the 4 hour for that. Do you do the same? 1 and 5? Okay. So I'm basically 1 hour difference comparing to the 5. Any specific reason for using the 5? Other than using something that most people don't use? Okay. So, I guess this is it, guys. Tomorrow, it all depends on how Asia behaves, how London behaves when it opens. Um, but the overall idea for me would be this, and for me to get a decent screenshot to show the people, I have to include all this. Maybe if I'd clean it up on the 4 hour, let me see. This is actually a 4 hour alpha block. Interesting. Anyway. Something like this. Man, that coinank.com thing. Have you ever heard of it? I was looking for footprint alternatives because someone asked me. They have a Mac. I don't know. I don't remember who it was, but the person has a Macintosh, so they can't use Addis because it bugs a lot. He tried it with that Windows emulator. I forgot the name. Wine, I think. And it just crashes too much. And doesn't want to buy ExoCharts just because of that. So I was trying to see if there's a free alternative for footprints and TPOs and stuff. And I found this website. I didn't even save it, to be honest. Should have, maybe. I found this website that has like a list of trading tools and software and stuff like that. And it had that one. And man, that's pretty complex. I mean, um, first of all, the amount of indicators that you have here, bar statistics, footprint, limit orders. For example, this large limit orders, it's kind of the same as ADA's big trades, which is really nice. It has a limit order heat map, which takes forever to load most of the times, and it's too clunky when it loads. But if you actually configure it, um, how did I do that? I did it, yeah, like so. Um, if now you actually go there, you can actually see the amounts. This is really useful, man. Because if you see like a big number, actually there's not like huge numbers. 261, like nothing really major. And of course, wherever there's too much information, it really slows down. And I don't have a slow PC actually. The colors are kind of messed up. Okay, that's better. For example, up here, this is a respectable number. 43,600. We have 500 limit orders of Bitcoin. And at 44,200, we'd have 576. 500 at 44,900. Yeah, and nothing more past that. But you can also check it from this side view here. The bigger the spike, the bigger the amount of limit orders. Yeah. For example, I have been using exocharts for that, the DOM. It's really nice for that too. It shows it basically here. But in comparison, for example, it's actually easier to look it up on this chart, because yes, it looks messy as fuck when you load it up like this, but all you gotta do is just, okay, let me see where the really um, strong colors are, and you just zoom in on them, and you see, for example, as a rule, if they are more than 500 or 400, then that is a probable level to get a reaction. Less than that, yes, you are going to have some kind of reaction. You always do, but it's probably not enough for a reversal. Um, and I have been using EXO for that, but see it on a chart like that, it's easier. So that's a very cool thing. The limit order heat map. Not this one. This one? Yeah. Um, Another cool thing is when a candle has too much of a difference between buyers and sellers, it creates these lines, which are basically imbalances. And if they are green, they generally function as support. If they are red, they generally function as resistance. Also, price tends to revisit them uh, as such as this, which can be nice for a confluence for a limit order into an order block, for example. So if you see that and price is near it, it's probably going to revisit it. So I'm on the 5 minute time frame, for example. Just looking at this, you could have seen that you have this order block right here, this last candle here, and after it you have an FEG which has stacked imbalances, so it has these green lines, and as you can see, it just tapped the first one and continued up. That's really interesting. This is the liquidity. Okay, this is the footprint. It has anchored VWAPs as well, and then it also has liquidation levels like high block. The only thing that I don't like is that it doesn't give us any info, any numbers about it, no matter how much you zoom in. But the idea anyway is that, if I'm not mistaken, the red ones are high leverage, so they mean 100x. Mid leverage is 50, low leverage is 25. So the bigger the spike here, supposedly the bigger the reaction you're going to get. So of course we have a ton of liquidation levels below us, but currently these bigger spikes are probably the most important ones. And then other cool stuff. You also have net longs and net shorts like EXO does. It's exactly the same information, which is kind of astonishing for a free tool, right? We just had an interesting spike there. And then you have derivatives indicators, CVT, delta bars, liquidations, aggregated liquidations, long-short ratios, buy-sell volume deltas, etc. And then classic ones, RSIs and stuff like that. So this is really nice, man. For a free tool, it's kind of impressive. Impressive, I mean, in the sense that it includes so many usually not free things, right? In a web-based app. It's really cool. And I don't know anyone that uses this. I never heard of it. That's a big pump, huh? Tomorrow's gonna be interesting, I guess. So yeah, it does. By the way, it does have other cool stuff, just not the kind of stuff that I use nowadays. But even this screener, this coin screener, the customizations that you can have, you know, pretty nice. Open interest chains in 5 minutes. That's generally not available in free tools as well. And you can order by that information. And I saw something else interesting here, which was, I think it's either this one or this one. Let me check. Which is almost the same as the high block. Yeah, this, for example, this liquidation heat map is basically the same as high block. And I know that CoinGlass has something very similar too. But the difference is that here you can put it on full screen, and that's really helpful because CoinGlass doesn't have that, especially for taking screenshots and stuff and sending to people. That's really useful. This is your liquidation level normal liquidation level, I mean. This is exchange data, charts data. You have the bubble index and stuff. You have this price prediction thing. Curious. You know, there's a lot of cool stuff here. It's really interesting. On-chain data as well. I don't use any of that, of course, but you know. That's it, guys. I guess I'm gonna head out to bed, get ready for another day. Get some rest, bro. You need to get some rest too. No problem, no problem. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Sleep well. Igor, wake up at 7:30. Not later, not sooner. Cheers, bro. Good night. What time frame do you use the 200 MA for? I like the 4 hour.